What's happening, everybody? It is IJ, and today we are making another video. In fact, the very first video that we have made this entire year. Once again, I am sorry, so sorry that we haven't been making videos for the entirety of December and also November. The problem is that I have to work for a living and Target isn't that great around Christmas. Super sorry about that, but since this is the new year, it is my resolution to continue to send you camera knowledge injected directly into your YouTube feed. And if you would like to see that, please like, comment, and subscribe, because these videos are sponsored. They're just sponsored by me. The video that we are making today is actually a video that we made last year. It's the Crap Factor video, or as a lot of people like to say, the worst video that we've made on this channel, which isn't wrong. We really have learned a lot since then, and I'm super sorry that that video wasn't as good as it could be, as good as the video that we're gonna make today, because honestly, it's one of the earlier videos. We really have learned a lot since then, and I hope that you guys continue to watch with us and grow with us and learn a little bit more every single day as we try to learn a little bit more and progress the craft and the art form of photography. And if you'd like to continue to grow with us a little bit more, once again, I would like to urge you to absolutely Hulk smash that subscribe button, because it really does help us out. Without further ado, let's explain what crop factor is. Crop factor is an excellent way of explaining the perceived change in field of view or the perceived increase in focal length when using a camera system with a smaller sensor from the one that you've already been using. For example, if you are used to using a camera such as a Canon 1D with a full frame sensor, when you switch over to a Canon 70D with a 1.6 times sensor, you're gonna notice that the lenses look a lot more zoomed in by comparison, just because of the crop on the sensor, just because the sensor itself is smaller. We actually did a test in order to explain it, and this is it. These are the results. These are the pictures here. All three of these pictures were taken with the exact same settings. So that's 1/5 of a second shutter speed, f8, and 200 ISO. Those are the settings there, and each of them were shot at 11 inches from the sensor. If we look at the first one, we can see that it's pretty zoomed out. This was shot on a Canon 1D Classic. This is a APS-H size sensor with a 1.3 times crop. But when we look at the next picture, which is the 70D with a 20 megapixel APS-C size sensor, you can see that it's a lot closer. We're using the exact same Sigma 18-35 lens shot at 30 millimeters. Both of them with the same aperture, the same ISO, and even shot at the exact same distance. And we notice that it looks a lot closer, even for the same settings. And then the last one, just to really explain what's going on, we have a Nikon V1 with the same settings. Remember, f8, ISO 200, with a 1-inch type sensor on the camera, and we've got even closer. It's not much more closer, but we've got even closer. 1.3 is that first camera, 1.6 is that second camera, and 2.7 is that last camera. And we can really see it by comparison. You shoot really wide on some cameras like Micro Four Thirds or like this CX sensor camera, because they really don't make anything any wider than 10 millimeters on the CX sensor and 5 millimeters on Micro Four Thirds. Which means if you want that super wide field of view, you're gonna want to go to the next rung up, which is APS-C, and if you want even wider, you're gonna want to go to the next rung up from that, which is full frame. This can cause more price. Lenses are gonna look a little different because depth of field, it gets more intense the larger the frame is, the larger the sensor is. But if you've got lenses in the system, then it's really not a problem. I said there isn't a whole lot more wider than 5 millimeters on the Micro Four Thirds. 5 millimeters is plenty wide. And then they've got lenses that go all the way up to 400, all the way up to 400 on the Micro Four Thirds side, and that's absolutely amazing. This can actually be a really good benefit though, because a lot of wildlife photographers love using crop sensor cameras for wildlife. Like I know a couple of wildlife photographers who are using Micro Four Thirds systems because they basically get twice the lens for the same price. Micro Four Thirds, it's got a crop factor of 2, but if I take my 300 millimeter lens, I get a 600 millimeter lens. A 300 millimeter lens right now, or a 200 millimeter Canon, or a 200 millimeter Canon 70 to 200, you can get that for about $500 right now. So you can now turn that $500 lens into a 400 millimeter lens, which the cheapest one right now you could probably find for about $800. And this is Canon L class, by the way. Just buying a used lens, throwing it on there, and getting really double the performance from what you would expect to get out of it. That sounds absolutely amazing to me, and that's why a lot of wildlife photographers are using crop sensor cameras, because they can really get just a little bit closer. Don't you just want to get a little bit close? I'm sorry. I had to. I thought it was weird. You can really just get a little bit closer. And if you're using something like my Nikon V1, you can get even closer than that, because it's basically got a 3.0 crop factor. So a 100 millimeter lens looks closer to 300 millimeter lens. They make a 10 to 110, which gives me basically 300 millimeters, and I can go out and with a system that's no bigger. I'm sorry, with a system that's actually a lot smaller than my 70D, I can with my 300 millimeter lens, I can get the same kind of performance, and that's actually a really nice feeling to have. Once again, everybody, I'm your host Jay, and today we had a really fun time. I hope you guys had a fun time watching, and goodbye.